So today we're going to be custom painting some Airforce 1's again. Let's get into it. So we have our fresh Airforces right here, pure white, not even the bottom's dirty. I almost do not even want to paint them. I also whipped up a design in Procreate of the shoe, so I have some sort of idea what I want the final design to be like. So these are the stuff that I'm going to be using. Obviously the Airforces, and we're going to be using an airbrush rather than a standard brush. I just prefer an airbrush to anything else, and we've got the whole set here. We're going to be using these leather paint right here. These are Angelus and everyone uses them, and I actually quite rate them myself. Got the dark grey here in the big bottles, got the too thin and the acrylic finisher. Got some masking tape, obviously you need to mask up your Airforces. Got some acetone right here, and we've got some cotton wool as well. So I already went ahead and delaced the shoes. You do not want paint over the white laces. So now we're going to put acetone with the cotton buds, and we're going to rub over this shoe, the entirety of the shoe, to get off that factory finish, or else the paint's not going to stick and it's probably going to flake off. And I also got the GoPro with the chest mount as well, so you guys can actually get like a POV of what I'm doing compared to just being stuck on a tripod. So we're going to give that a go. Yeah, once we apply the acetone, then we're going to mask up. Let's just get started. I've custom painted shoes before, and I actually quite liked doing them. So go back on the channel and watch those videos to see how I've done the others. Once you've applied acetone all over the shoe, next you'll start by masking up the entirety of the shoe, and then you'll start cutting out areas that you want to paint. But be very careful not to cut too deep, or else you'll cut into the actual shoe itself. So now the shoes have been masking taped and cut out of the areas that are going to be painted. We're going to start off with the dark grey. So let's start with the grey, and then we can move on to the black. I love using Angelus leather paint. It is just such high quality paint, and I have never had any troubles with it. And I can literally just load it up into the airbrush, and I can start spraying right away. And having an airbrush just makes things 10 times easier. You can get even coats of paint, and it literally just takes seconds to spray the paint on the shoe, and plus you get no layer lines. I think an airbrush is just overall so much more better than actually using a brush. You can't go wrong. So it has been 24 hours and I have fully left these shoes to dry. But now that I'm actually looking at these shoes, I think the grey is just a bit too dark. So I may have to lighten it up. So which means I'm going to have to re-masking tape all of these shoes again. But for now, I'm thinking about just moving on to the black and see how well the black and the dark grey goes. We'll see how it goes. So let's get back to painting. So I realised when I was painting on the grey that the masking tape wasn't sticking to the shoe. And I got some overspray in some areas that I didn't want to get paint on, and it ended up making a huge mess. So for this I'm going to be using electrical tape around the edges, and it actually works out pretty well. So it's literally took me about 2 hours to wrap the Airforces, and I gotta say, you have to have patience and you have to do it right. But the shoes I'm wrapped, so now we can actually start painting the black. But I'm actually going to do something else as well. These shoes were the first Airforces that I actually paint, and I actually wear these, but obviously the sole has become discoloured. Which is a common thing on the Airforces, and I've got some scuffs as well, and they just need a good clean. So I'm gonna acetone all this off and I'm going to redo it. So yeah, let's actually start painting now. So the idea of these shoes were to create something that didn't actually stand out compared to my other shoe designs, and something that actually goes with my outfits. And if I'm being honest, I don't really want to wear any of these shoes because I really don't want to get them creased or dirty. To paint the airband on the sole of the shoe, I'm actually using a toothpick. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it actually works out pretty well compared to a normal brush. But I'm just using the exact same colours I have been on the shoe, just grey and black. Finally, we're ready to use the acrylic finisher, and it essentially seals the entirety of the shoe, and it helps to protect the paint, and it makes it last longer against any scuffs. So the shoes actually came out pretty decent, and I'm quite happy with them, even though there is some slight imperfections here and there. But you can only tell if you're up close, but obviously you're going to be wearing these on your feet, so no one's going to look. But I'm actually quite happy with how these shoes turned out. But so be sure to check out my other videos of these custom Air Forces that I have done. I'll catch you in the next video.